Hey everybody, welcome to DFW's Real Estate Best, where you are hearing from the best in real estate here in DFW. I firstly want to say a Merry Christmas to those of you watching. You know, we have Christmas around the corner there, and so just from us to you here at DFW Real Producers, we hope you have wonderful time with family, friends, and a happy new year. But I'm excited for today's show, and also just want to let you know we stream through Spotify, iTunes, a radio network, all sorts of different channels there. Make sure to get subscribed. Wednesdays, 11 a.m. We live stream here through Facebook and YouTube. So hope to catch you next week as well. But we're grateful for the difference. We are powered by the difference. Lendon, the gentleman who runs it, has a radio, live stream, podcast platform that just helps businesses, both large and small, do branding, digital development. I mean, oh my goodness, anything in that sphere, he can help your business. So I want to encourage you to get connected with him. And at the end of the show, he'll be sharing more about that. But today's program, we're going to be having on two people who have incredible hearts. Firstly, are the best at what they do here in DFW, and they particularly both have a heart for the veteran community. And so if you have a heart for the veteran community, or that's something that piques your interest, make sure to stay tuned, because we're going to talk about how to help veterans, particularly in real estate. And we'll dive into some other neat things as well, such as, you know, if you're working with people in real estate who have student debt, what you can do there, how you can help them. So different things we'll be diving into. But I first want to invite on to the show my friend, a top 500 Dallas real estate agent with Century 21 Judge Fight. She's a real estate professional here in DFW, Dallas, office in Bishop Arts. Miranda, why don't you come and join right now?
Hi, Rachelle.
Awesome. Hey, good to have you on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, now we first met. We've seen each other a couple of times in between then, but was it about a year ago?
Yeah, I believe so. About a year ago in Bishop Arts.
Something like that. It's been a while. I do know that, and
Yes.
I know when we were talking, sharing hearts, you particularly, as I mentioned in the beginning, you were sharing about your heart for the veteran community. And when I was sharing with you about the unique community here we have at Dallas Real Producers, the cream of the crop in real estate is a part, the top 500 agents, best businesses working in real estate here in Dallas. One particular businessman came up because he shares that same heart to help the veteran community. And we started talking about him, his business, your business. We actually all met up for lunch. And I'm going to let you introduce him so we can get him on the show here.
Yes. Hi, Wade. He's awesome. Winning with Wade, and I've had some amazing transaction with Wade. Come on, Wade, show yourself.
There we go. How's it going, everyone?
There you are, Wade Betts with Nexa Mortgage. Welcome to the show, Wade.
Thank you. Really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be awesome. I know both of you, and I'm excited for those of you listening in to hear their hearts, hear about what they're passionate about, but also hear the journey. I think that we can gain a lot, both insight and inspiration from hearing the journey. And so, Miranda, I would just love to dive into your story right now. You didn't always plan to get into real estate. You actually had a different idea of what you were going to do with your life years ago. Why don't you share how that started?
Well, early on, when I was young, I wanted to get into the medical field, maybe be a physician or nursing or something. But then I started volunteering, and I would be crying every day. And then, so I ended up changing I'm sorry?
I hear you on that. You know, I cry pretty easily here, so probably would be me too.
Yes. So I started, then I ended up getting my degree in advertising marketing because I loved being creative and coming up with commercials. Like my dream at that point was to have a Super Bowl commercial. And then I ended up with the Dallas Morning News. I was an account executive there for, I believe, 6 years. And then right around that time in 2008, 2009, the economy was changing. Everywhere we were going through a dip, right? Even though Dallas was still overall somewhat healthy, the whole country, right? We were feeling it.
Right.
So and then also the newspaper was declining. There was changing happening there. I've always had a love for real estate. I've always had a love for architecture, for different properties, for meeting new people. And so I decided to get into real estate. And plus my daughter was, she was, I think, 8 or 9 at that time. So I wanted flexibility with her to be able to pick her up from school, drop her off.
Right.
And so then, and also around that time, a lot of agents were getting out of the industry because of the economy. So I was like, you know what? It's a great time to get in, learn it. And then ever since then, I love it. I love real estate. I'm very happy and blessed to be in this industry.
Right. Now, the climb to the top 500, to be a top 500 agent here in Dallas, wasn't just an easy ride in the beginning.
No.
I remember there was just some hard times, even just the transition you were saying. You had to juggle your full-time work and doing full-time real estate.
Right.
Share about that. Like, how did you get through that time? I remember you saying your daughter would even come with you to the showings.
Oh yeah, prayer, first of all, and then prayer, determination, don't give up. Anybody that you meet could potentially be somebody or know someone looking to buy, sell, or lease. And at the beginning too, I was just working leases. I was working anything and everything possible to be able to become full-time. So I was working full-time, still in marketing or Dallas Morning News. And then I transitioned to another company, marketing. And then I continued with real estate and just kept on, like almost basically 24/7. And there's a lot of cost to get into real estate. So you're coming into an industry where you're paying a lot of money before you're even getting money. So, but I've met so many amazing people, clients. It's worth it.
Yeah. Talk about that. That's a pretty strong statement. And I also think good for even potential aspiring real estate agents listening into the show. They're hearing of the amazing stories, the unlimited potential, when you join into real estate. That's quite a statement that you said there, that you have to be prepared for loss when you start in real estate.
I mean, there are some agents, that hit the ground running. And of course, I just necessarily wasn't one. I had to really continue to work. But I mean, yes, the income is unlimited. It's how much you work and all that. It's amazing. So, yeah.
Well, I have to say, meeting with top agents, I want to say almost weekly, that definitely is a key part. You have to be prepared to, take some hits, take some loss in the beginning, take a risk. But as we know in life, there we go. Exactly. Not just that's a good point, not just financially, but be prepared for the rejections, for the hard climb. But when was that turning point? Because there was a lot of grinding in the beginning, bring your daughter to showings. I remember you, Sherry, even your clients asking your daughter, what do you think about this?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I had her, I didn't have a sitter, right? I mean, I was holding on to all the money I could possibly to get this going, right? So, yes, she went with me to all the showings. And I would even tell the clients, is it okay? Everybody was okay with it. But then when she started becoming like a teenager, she's like, no more. But before, she's like, okay, I'm done. And even right now, she's really into real estate, but she's starting to ask questions. She knows about investments. She knows what appraisal means. She's pretty well-rounded about real estate in itself. And I remember one time I was showing a property, and a lot of the clients would ask her, like, what's your opinion about the house? And I know one time she's like, I'm not feeling this house because it feels too much like an apartment when you walk in. I'm like, hold on. Yeah. So she would give her opinion. It was cute. But then I got to also be careful with some of the stuff you never know what they might say either.
Yeah, no kidding. So there was obviously a transition point when you got the babysitter, and but there was also a transition point when you left your full-time job and went full. I mean, you already were full-time into real estate, but then fully just focus in on that. And I know, speaking with other top agents, they say, hey, for like aspiring agents start out, like, keep that part-time job, keep that other full-time job, and do real estate. And, when it comes time, you will know when you're supposed to go fully into real estate. So when was that time for you? How did you know when it was time to leave the other job and completely focus on real estate?
Well, so from Dallas Morning News, I went to another marketing job, and I just was not being fulfilled at that job. And I knew my heart was with real estate, even though my business wasn't as ramped up as I wanted to be. But I knew that I had to do everything it took in me to provide for my family. So probably around a year and a half, 2 years, I'm just like, you know what? This is going to be my full-time job. And so, did what you did, just continue to work 24/7, basically, to
burn the boats.
That's right.
Awesome. And before we shift gears here, I want to hear some of your story, Wade. But you have to share with everybody, Miranda, what you do at closing. You even if you're not there at closing, you told me that you wear something to celebrate.
I should have worn them today. Yeah.
So Mark Koretsky just did a shout out to us all. So hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Merry Christmas.
So every closing, I wear my closing shoes, which are they're very sparkly, kind of leopard, but they make a statement. And so the clients love them, especially some of the repeat clients. They're like, we're ready for you to put those shoes on. And so, and I always take a picture. Sometimes I take a picture with my shoes and the client's shoes or other, so I have so many pictures on my phone, like I'm walking, headed into the closing, because it's the picture of the shoes. But the clients, they get a kick out of it too.
No, that's awesome. I've heard from some other top agents, Sally Morellis, who we also featured in a previous issue of Dallas Real Producers. She also has something with the shoes. She wears some nice red high heels because, as she shared in her journey with me, she can afford nice, pretty shoes when she started out in real estate. And she, with some hard work, some determination, sacrifice, like you're talking about, Miranda, she's made it to the top 500, and now she wears some special shoes there to celebrate. There must be something there with the shoes. So
I can't pull off the high heels though. They just don't look good on me.
I was going to say, Wade, what do you do on closing? What's that special thing? Is there anything special that lenders do on closing? I hear something from real estate agents.
It depends, honestly. If we have the opportunity to arrive at closing and be present, we can do something special. But a lot of times, because we're licensed in an entire state, a lot of these closings might be out of the area, and it's just not practical to be present for closing. And COVID made that even more of a struggle the last couple of years. So I'd love to sit here and say with a straight face that I show up to every closing. That's just not the reality, especially given the COVID pandemic that we've been through. So I might have to pull out some fancy shoes though and work that in. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if you do a video though. It's great how you send those video messages through email versus the typical email.
I send a significant amount of video. In fact, I track it, and I think already this week I've sent 42, and it's Wednesday morning.
I love them.
Amazing. I guess it's good too, Miranda, when you're on the road to get a video message from Wade, so you could be multitasking there and listening to an email there from Wade versus trying to, well, hopefully not reading while driving.
We don't condone that. Disclaimer.
But Wade, no one decides growing up that they want to become a lender, as you told me. The majority don't say they want to be a lender when they grow up, and that certainly was not your journey, as you told me. But how did you end up in this profession? I will mention, a swimmer there. What's the exact title? Forgive me.
So it's okay. I was in high school. I was an All-American swimmer. That was back when I had cheekbones. Everyone watching. So that day has that long since passed. But that's what brought me to Dallas from New Orleans in the first place. Was I was going to swim at SMU in Dallas. Got there and realized that everyone that was there was some kind of like gold medal winner or something crazy like that. And it's like, nope, I'm not going to be on a Wheaties box, and I don't want to be a swim coach. So I'm just going to enjoy college. And that's where this kind of thing started. So met my now wife at school as well. God, we've been together since 1999. My kids like to tease us that we got together in the last millennium. But it's been great. Have two boys, 13 and 11 at this point. They're home for Christmas break right now. I bribed them to stay quiet for this. So hopefully that they listen. And it's been a good journey. So actually, my wife is the reason I am here today, for many reasons, just to be clear. But the professionally in particular, because I knew when I graduated from SMU, I had an economics degree, and I knew I wanted to go into real estate. But that's a very broad, industry. Any number of ways that you can be in real estate. And I found that with my economics degree, the mortgage and finance side was really a pretty good fit, a really good fit. But I didn't get there easily. So like literally the way the story goes is my girlfriend at the time, now wife, went to a party without me, met someone in real estate who told her about a mixer, who invited me to a different event, who introduced me to a headhunter, who introduced me to a headhunter, who introduced me to another headhunter.
Wow.
And that third one had just refinanced their mortgage. And the loan officer told this person like 3 days earlier, hey, if you run into anyone that's green, we're looking to hire someone new to the industry and train them up. And so we got connected that way. And the man that interviewed me and hired me was literally my boss for 14 years at that organization. I just had drinks with them last week. So Marcus, if you're watching, appreciate you, buddy. Owe everything to you. And but yeah, so even though we're not coworkers anymore, still friends, still mentors, and it's just been a really, really good journey. But that convoluted path to be hired all those years ago. That literally took about 10 months of following one lead to the next.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't like a thing like this. It took a while to get to that point. But the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah. And now, like your shirt says there, you love mortgages.
I do. Mortgages are great. The truth is everyone loves a home, but they don't necessarily love a mortgage. So this is what I try to accomplish during each of my transactions. But let's be realistic. I mean, it's a bureaucratic process. So the analogy that I use when I'm going through this with my clients is like Miranda and I, we're your airplane captains. We've flown this flight thousands of times. I don't know how long your flight's going to be or if we're going to run into turbulence. All I know is if you follow my in-flight instructions, we'll land you safely and it'll be a life-changing for you and your family.
Wow.
Love it.
I love that illustration. What a perfect illustration. And to kind of set someone at ease for the journey, the ride.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
It's a mortgage, though. There's going to be bumps along the road. Even if everything goes perfectly, there's still some bumps. It's just a bureaucratic process. So I love it. Hopefully the people going through it love it as well. But at the end of the day, what they really love is their home. So that's what we're trying to get them to.
Right. Talk about navigating that a little bit here, Wade. Navigating those bumps, working with different personalities. I imagine you come across all sorts of things. And you have to be a certain personality type. That pilot there, calm, cool, steady, problem solver, to be able to get the plane landed on the ground.
That's exactly right. So I've done a lot of studying around disc profiling. I know this is probably not the direction you expected me to go, but the large majority of the population is an S, and S's like stability and they like to be led to the clear next step. And depending on what study you read, anywhere from 60 to 70% of the population is an S. So I've got my process built around the majority,
Wow.
and the majority just want to be led to the clear next step. Now, for the 30% that aren't in that, that's when you have to be a little bit more adaptive to how they want to communicate and interact. But the majority of the population, they just want to be led. And
Right.
so we have to provide clear guidance, set clear expectations so that they are not surprised, good or bad. It really shouldn't be a surprise. Now, is that always possible? No, it's real estate. There's going to be weird things
Right.
that pop up on inspections and appraisals and things like that. But the key is to try to be as proactive as possible so that we don't have to react and be reactive, and it takes us out of what we need to be doing to help grow the business and help the families and do those types of things. So clear next steps. That's the key. That's
Right.
the goal.
Very well said. Miranda, how important is that for you? Working with a lender, you've worked with Wade, just having that trust in your lender and exactly what Wade said, leading them to the next clear step.
It's so important that the clients feel comfortable throughout the whole process on the lending side and buying a house, looking for a house. And so to have a lender that communicates with the agent and communicates with the client and accessible is just so important, because really, like agents and mortgage and lenders, we're just a click away, right? We're just literally a referral away from somebody else. But to provide excellent communication, to make them feel like we're looking out for their best interest and that we are there from the beginning, the middle, all the way to the end. And, try to, everybody just wants the best rate, right?
Wait, I never hear that. It's only twice today, whatever.
Yeah. And then also, I just want to mention about VA. It is so important with VA because to a lot of people, a lot of sellers, they feel they don't want to work a VA offer. So it's very important to work with a lender who fully understands that it can be done. It's as good as a conventional or cash. I mean, and as an agent, I have a lot of training as far as how we can overcome things that could be called out during appraisal, what we can do to, at the end of the day, to close it. Right.
Right.
So,
yes. Well, yeah, the two experts right here, Wade as well. You specialize in VA home loans. A lot of lenders, they might do one or two a year. But you're doing them monthly. You specialize in them. And I love what you shared, Miranda. And I think this is a perfect segue. Let's go into some myth busting here. Wade, you are passionate about myth busting as well in regards to veteran loans.
Yes.
And actually, before we even hop into that, I'm sure people, if the people listening in might be thinking, well, yeah, like I've had that perception, Miranda. I want to stay away from those loans, stay away from that. But how did you get a passion for working with the veteran community? I'd love to dive into that first, and then let's go into some myth busting. Miranda, why don't we start with you, and then Wade would love to hear how you got a heart for the veteran community.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I'm a proud American, and I have had over my grandfather. He had received a Purple Heart. And there's over 20 something family members that have been in military. And so I remember also growing up, one family member, it was during I'm going blank on the war, but I remember like my dad talking about it a lot. His brother was there. Right. And so it's just, however I can do my part to help them achieve a home ownership, I definitely want to be a part of it, because I would have wanted to have gone into the military, but it just didn't work out. So I thank them for the time that they served and how I can help them. I'm all about it.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Wade, what about you? How did you get a heart for the veteran community and just start specializing to work with veterans?
So it starts with my grandfather. I got his flag right over my shoulder here, so I get to see it every day. It makes me smile every day. He was an amazing man. I miss him greatly. But that's where it started. And then as I got deeper and deeper into my mortgage career, I realized that the veteran community is really kind of preyed upon. And I'm not going to mention any names, but let's just summarize to say that there's some very nationally branded VA-friendly lenders out there that, in my opinion, don't necessarily have the veterans' best interest in heart. And so I kept seeing and hearing from my real estate partners that the VA loan is hard to get accepted and these types of things. And so essentially, I don't want to say veterans are being discriminated against because they're not technically a protected class, so they can't be discriminated against. But the reality is they were getting their offers rejected for other offers. And the reasoning that I kept hearing, it was kind of the same things over and over again. And so that's when I got educated and got more involved. And look, I'll be very transparent here. Before I decided to specialize in helping veterans, I had done a few hundred VA mortgages before. And once you actually start digging into all the guidelines and the gotchas and everything, I was really kind of amazed that that something didn't go haywire prior. And that's the difference. So, Rachelle, you mentioned that a lender might do one or two a year. Yes, they might. And those deals blow up more often than lenders that specialize in it because we know how to navigate the program. So what happens, though, is if that deal blows up, now the real estate community thinks, oh, it's a VA issue, when really it was a lender execution issue.
Right.
So the VA home loan is the best. What was that, Miranda?
Yes, I've experienced that where they're literally they are the one that dropped the ball and it fell apart and the member did not close. Yeah. So
it happens a lot. And it just breaks my heart. So the fact is that they served us. It's our turn now to serve them. And I don't think being an expert at your craft or a specialist, even I'm not an expert, just for the whole internet to hear. I specialize. So there's always someone that knows more. There's always something else to learn. So I specialize in it. But I don't think it's too much to ask the lending community to specialize in our craft to help the veteran community. And that's why I'm here. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got people that I look up to that help more veterans than me and that are more knowledgeable than me. That's okay. Yeah. It's good to have mentors. But the key is to just make sure that you're constantly improving to consistently help more and more veteran families. Because if we're not helping them, they're getting advice, probably bad advice from someone else that could be harming them. So we owe it to them to get the message out that the VA home loan is the best mortgage in America, and they've earned the right to use that. And if a listing agent has an objection, we, Miranda and I, need to overcome those objections because they're myths. It's a wonderful, wonderful loan program. Nothing remotely comes close. Amazing. And I've got statistics to back it up.
I believe it. And that is one of the things I really respect about you, Wade, and your business. You are a learner. You know, you are continually, I mean, the people who are the best at their craft are learners. They're continually learning. They have those mentors in their life, like you said. And I love it. I feel like, you know, some of the times that we've been together, the first time met with you in person there with Erica Harden. Shout out to Erica, a top agent in North DFW. I remember you sharing about some of the things you were learning from your coach.
Queen.
Yes. Hashtag your Prosper agent.
Yep.
Erica Harden. And you were sharing about some of the things you learned from your coach. And so, I have a lot of respect for you and just continually learning and educating, not just keeping it for yourself, but educating those around you. And really appreciate that. But let's talk about some of those myths here. Miranda, Wade, why don't you both chime in? Let's do some myth busting right now. And Wade, you'll also have to share about your class that you do listening and want to attend a myth busting class.
All right. So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Miranda. What objection do you hear the most often when you're presenting a VA offer to a listing agent?
The appraiser is going to cut everything down. We're probably going to have a hard time. It's not going to appraise for that amount. So many items are going to be called out during the appraisal.
Yeah, I hear that a lot as well. The reality is, as long as the property is, safe and sound, structurally, you're going to be okay for the most part.
Yeah.
Yes, the VA does not like peeling paint because a lot of that for the older homes is lead-based possibility there. So they'll make you scrape and repaint. But the appraiser, the VA appraiser, is not really any different from a conventional appraisal. The key difference is that if you go with the conventional appraisal, and let's say it doesn't make value, you then have to rebut it, and you're basically arguing with the appraiser about their opinion of value. So even though you and I might disagree with it, it's their opinion, and that's what matters. So you very rarely get the value changed on a non-VA appraisal, whereas on a VA appraisal, there's two opportunities to impact value.
Right.
If the value is not going to be able to be met, or if the appraiser is struggling, they're required to raise their hand and issue what's called initiate tidewater. And that's a process where they have 48 hours for us to provide additional comps to support the value. And I want to say something like 15% of homes this year have had tidewater called on them. So that means 85% of the time, the properties are making value just fine. And then of the ones that have tidewater initiated, some of those are making value because if there are actual comps to support the sales price, then that works. But, this year has been kind of crazy. So a lot of times the values might have just been made up by the seller and or listing agent. And in which case the values would still come in low. But here's the beautiful thing. Even if that's the case, then you can do what's called a reconsideration of value. And the big difference here is that the VA appraiser is not involved in that. It's literally the underwriter, the staff appraisal reviewer at the lender, and then the regional loan center. They're communicating and they can adjust the value. There's a 15% delta that they can do. So but the best part is the appraiser's not involved. So ego's not in there saying that, oh, you got it wrong and whatnot. So the appraisal one, it's the most secure way for a seller to guarantee that they're going to get their offer, their sales price. Not fully guaranteed, but it's the most likely. Yes, VA appraisers do have the escape clause that the seller is going to have to agree to, but there's ways to structure the contract that we can go through that mitigate some of that risk. So that's the one I hear the most often. And the other one that I hear all the time, and it just makes my blood boil, is when they say the veteran doesn't have any skin in the game.
Wow.
And I'm not going to use adult language here, but I really want to. Yeah.
I think it cut out, Miranda. What were you saying?
And some say because they don't put any money down, that, they don't, do they really have the means to close, or able to close, or, I hear that often as well.
Yeah. Zero down does not equal
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't equal a weak buyer. So the fact is that the average credit score for a veteran versus a conventional buyer, it's like just a few points difference. It changes every month. And essentially you can all look up this data on the Ellie Mae monthly insight report. They actually track it. It's only a few points difference, but the real big difference is that the average or the median income for a veteran, at least in Texas, I want to say it's $87,000 versus $61,000 for a civilian. So they have significantly higher income. Their credit scores are very nearly identical. The average veteran has about $17,000 in assets as well, which is more than enough to cover closing cost and even an appraisal shortage. And that's the real big difference is right now with how low interest rates are, why would anyone, much less a veteran who has the ability to put nothing down that they've earned, by the way, why would they do anything different when their interest rates are so low? They can keep their money in their investment account earning a higher rate of return. And I've got software that I model this with, but essentially their net worth is different by hundreds of thousands of dollars if they keep their money outside of their home. Let inflation increase the value of your financial assets. Let it push up the value of your home. let it inflate away the real world impact of your mortgage debt. It's a fixed debt. So the net worth difference is huge. So when you explain to a listing agent that, look, they're choosing to put zero down because they've
Exactly.
earned the right to,
Yes.
it makes a big difference. And if the property doesn't appraise, then they only have to come up with the appraisal shortage, not the down payment and appraisal shortage like they would with the conventional mortgage. So it's
Right.
actually easier to make the deal work on a VA versus any other loan program by far.
Amazing. Amazing. Any
And I just
other?
want
Yeah.
I was just going to add, I'm also part of the relocation department here with Judge Fight. And so I work with a lot of clients moving, from all over, and then military as well. And just like Wade said, I just closed on a property. Both the husband and the wife were retired veterans, 20 plus years. So, right, they have that income. Plus, they both work full time. And we wanted them to use their VA, right? So they're very well off. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I just did. I pre-approved a veteran for $1.1 million purchase last week. I
Awesome.
wish that all of my veterans were buying
Yeah.
homes like that. But the reality is, it's a wonderful program, and they can do that with zero down. Literally, because they asked me about 20% down, and when I showed them the difference in payment, I want to say, and I'm going from memory now, I want to say the monthly payment was $875 difference between 20% down versus zero, but it was like $200,000 savings out of their pocket. So if they would have just taken that $875 a month and saved it back up, it would have taken them almost 20 years to get their money back. Well, don't do that.
Mhm.
Leave your 200 grand in your investment account. Let that compound at 7 or 8% a year. Now you've got that into the multi-millions by the time you retire.
Yes.
It's a huge
That's
difference.
right.
So you mentioned the word education earlier, Rachelle. That's exactly what we need to lead with, because
Right.
consumers can only get so much from Google. Okay, they need actual professionals to help guide them to the clear next step.
Just saying, you can get lost on Google, and you can get all sorts of weird information on Google too. You need to speak to an expert, like you're saying there, Wade. And I actually want to talk more about education in a moment here. But oh my goodness, I'm sure we could have an hour more conversation on different myths that people relate to the veteran community and real estate and
The
veteran
CE class I
loans.
teach on that's an hour. So yes, it could absolutely be an hour.
There we go. And so I'd love, Wade, for you to share, how do people get in contact with you to join this myth busting class if they want to hear more about the myths?
So I don't have any scheduled upcoming, but the reality is, connect with me on Facebook, send me a private message. My email address, I think it's scrolling on the screen over here, team@winningwithwade.com, team@winningwithwade.com. And then we'll just connect and go from there. It doesn't necessarily have to be a CE class. Literally, if you have questions about a VA mortgage or VA borrower or need help, even if I'm not part of the transaction, please reach out. I am more than happy to help our veteran community in any way. Okay.
And Miranda can testify here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Working with Wade there on some veteran loans.
Mm-hmm. He's great.
Awesome. And just quickly here, how rewarding, Miranda, is it, at the end of that process there, working with the veterans, again, speaking to perhaps some real estate agents who are listening right now that unfortunately, like a lot, shy away from those veteran loans. Any final things you would say with them to encourage them to give it a shot?
Yeah. Just don't give up. I mean, even if you're working with the veteran, continue to encourage them to use it. And if a house doesn't get accepted, just keep on. It's going to be tough, but just keep educating yourself as an agent and find out. I mean, we can overcome everything that comes our way. I mean, of course, if the credit happens, that's a different story. But other than that, it's a good file. We can, it can be overcome where it can close.
Right. Yeah. And like we're talking about today, which I think is Definitely clear after listening to someone talk here. Find a lender that specializes in veteran home loans, like Wade, who's sharing today. As you shared so well, Wade, a lot of times, a deal doesn't end up going through. It's not the veteran's fault. It's the lender's fault. They just didn't know exactly what they were doing. And so you really do need to find someone who specializes in VA loans. And I love what you said, a VA loan can be the best loan. And so I'm excited for people to connect in more with you, hopefully attend some myth busting classes, hear more. Again, love your giving heart, both of you.
I've literally got some agents that literally just work with me on just the veteran piece. Now, would I like all of the other piece of their business? Of course, but I'm more than happy to just help their veteran clients. And you're exactly right. You need a specialist. And there are some very good VA specialists in the DFW area. So it doesn't just have to be me. Of course, I would be honored to help them.
Right. Awesome. Well, education, Miranda, I know that is something that also, you're passionate about. We've spoken about before, people are facing all different life situations.
That's
and, I love what you said. Anybody can get into a home. There's just that education piece, a part of that. Why don't you share more about your heart with that? Because I know it's something you're passionate about getting a plan in place.
Well, and you never know what the client is facing, whether it be they're having to sell their parents' home, or they're starting a new family, or going through a divorce, whatever it is. I mean, we adapt to their situation. We figure out the best plan. We walk them through everything. And that just alone is what I love so much about it. Every client has a different story, and it's our job to be there for them, walk them through it, and lead them in the right direction.
Right. And exactly. And you were sharing with me how a lot of times, leading them in the right direction requires introducing them to different programs. Sometimes people are intimidated, and you have to help them get a plan in place, and that requires education. And I know that's something, as you were talking about a moment ago there, Wade, that you are passionate about. And I'd love for you to talk about one of those plans you have in place, Wade, to help people become the most successful homeowner they can be. The homeownership platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of y'all that don't know or haven't heard about it, so I'm an Art of Homeownership partner. So I've got my business based off of the Art of Homeownership platform, which is essentially a system to ensure that people are as successful homeowners as possible, because the average realtor and average lender out there, they might be fantastic at getting people to closing, but after closing is really what matters the most. And we have to have systems in place to ensure that that client is a successful homeowner. We have to believe that their retirement is better off with us in their life than without us. And Miranda and I, we are basically the center of their financial wheel, because the average American, the home is their largest asset. They might not have financial advisors or CPAs or anything like that. They might just have you and me to help them with their largest asset and their largest debt. Okay. So leading up to closing, as a matter of fact, even before that, when we are pre-approving people, and this is mainly for the first-time home buyers, but 2 out of 3 people with federal student loans can benefit from an income-based repayment plan. So we've got a strategic partner as we're pre-approving people that we can analyze those people's student loan debts to see if they'll qualify for an income-based repayment plan and or forgiveness. And if they do, we can connect them with that partner to help them shave what is usually significant amounts off of their student loan debts. So 2 out of 3 people with student loans can qualify. And on average, they reduce their monthly payment obligation by $600 a month. And that can be used to pay down other debts, save for down payment and closing costs, qualify for a larger home that they might be worried that they're getting priced out of as interest rates go up and the sales prices increase. So that's on the front end. So we kind of lead with that education piece. And then,
Right.
like I said, we'll get them to closing just fine. That's that whole airplane analogy that we talked about earlier.
Right.
But after closing is the big difference. I mean, that's the big differentiator, because after closing, everyone gets assigned a home concierge so that we can help them proactively maintain the condition of their property, because well-maintained homes sell for top dollar and faster than homes that have deferred maintenance. We also make sure everyone gets a monthly real estate wealth digest, which helps them track and grow their net worth with real estate. It's really impactful. It's very personalized. The open rates on those things are just massive, anywhere from 60 to 80% each month. So a lot of these people are very interested to what's happening.
Big for email. Anyone who works in the email sphere, you know that's a huge open rate.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's absolutely massive, and it's valuable content that they care about. And so we help them, like I said, track and grow their net worth with real estate. That's the main thing that we do for that. And then also we'll invite them each year for an annual financial review, because I don't believe I can shackle somebody with this massive debt and not stay in touch with them to help them proactively maintain it and manage it. We've got a perfect mortgage promise so that they're always in the right mortgage. Sometimes they might need connections to estate planning attorneys and life insurance and financial planners, CPAs. Just there's lots of things that we can help facilitate that we wouldn't know if we didn't have the systems in place to make sure that the client is a successful homeowner.
Right. I love that. The relationship of just helping them doesn't end when closing happens. It continues after. And I love how you're just continue to help educate them and just, again, help them be the most successful homeowner they can be.
And when they go to sell, when they go to sell too, we have pre-sale renovation financing so that they can get their property in tip-top shape so that Miranda can sell it for top dollar. And it doesn't cost them anything. They get paid out of the proceeds of the sale. So it's just all about having these strategic partnerships that can help people be the most successful homeowner possible. Because there's no school for this. It's the school of hard knocks. You just kind of figure it out the hard way.
And we all can't be an expert on everything. And so we need people like a Miranda, like a Wade, to help us in those next steps. I think that's great. And same for you, Miranda, the relationship doesn't just end at closing, does it? As a top agent, it continues after. Why don't you share about that, being a top agent after closing?
Yeah, so you become you're communicating with them almost daily. And, in the morning, during the day, evening. So you become connected to them. You create a bond with them. And I kid you not, there's been times at closings where I walk away and I'm almost getting teary-eyed because I'm like, I don't know when the next time I might see them, or I got so used to seeing them or hearing about their family. We just, connected so well. And I'm just so happy and thankful to have been a part of this big move for them. And so, yes, I will, my follow-ups, but, the business part, but I just will randomly text clients all the time. I mean, I'm driving down the street and one comes to mind and I immediately, as soon as I'm able to, not driving, but I'll text them when I'm able to. And just communicate. And I love that. And then, so many clients throughout the years, they'll say, how's your daughter? That's one of the first things. And so I just love that as well.
Mm-hmm. Especially those clients, I'm sure, where your daughter came along to the appointments and things like that. Yes. I love it. Yeah, I love hearing from so many top agents and people a part of the community that truly these clients become like a member of their family or a close friend, because it really is, like you said, Wade, it's a huge moment in their life. And you guys are a big part of that, in constant communication with them. And I think that that's amazing. And certainly that's been a key to your success. I know with many other top agents I talk to is, the communication after closing, the relationship that still continues to grow. And it's not just about, getting them to the closing, but you've built a lifelong friend, a lifelong new member of your family. And so I think that that's just a beautiful thing when it's relationship focused first. Obviously being in real estate, it's very transactional business, but I'm sure as people are listening in, they can hear both of your hearts, that both of you are very much relationship oriented. I mean, oh my goodness, even just hearing your heart for the veteran community. You have a heart for these veterans. Like you said, Wade, even if they don't end up working with you, you want to help them and myth bust and share with them why working with veterans is,
the best.
You want the best. There you go. So I love that.
They deserve to use,
they earned it.
their VA.
They earned their benefit.
Okay.
And like what I tell them whenever I get a new lead or client or whatever, I tell them like I'm honored and I'm very proud to work with you, and I'm thankful that we can work together to find you a home. And it's true, that's how I feel.
Love it. And I want to say too, I'd be remiss if I didn't. Any veterans listening right now, we are so thankful for your service. So thank you. Now we're almost at the close of the program here. Christmas is, I can't believe it, a couple days away. Hope you all have your Christmas shopping done. I have a little bit more to do, but we're also here at the beginning of a new year, right around the corner. In a few moments here, Miranda, I know a big goal for you next year, speaking about veterans, is you want to help more in the veteran community. Yes. Why don't you share about that in a moment? And then Wade, I'd love for you to share about the new thing you're launching in the new year for veterans, that special program, which I'm sure is a goal to get that fully lifted off the ground. And so Miranda, why don't you go first?
Well, two projects that I'm going to work on. One is veterans. I'm just going to start small in the Oak Cliff and West Dallas area. And if they need repairs, whatever it might be, raising funds in order to help out those veterans. So I'm going to focus on that. And the other second part is one particular fire station. I always call it my fire station because when I was taking photography back when I was really young, I went there and I rode on the ambulance and took pictures while we went to different, like when the bell rang, we took off. So that was such an interesting experience. But so I want to help out, and some of them are veterans there, but I want to help out that fire station. Like they need a new treadmill, a couch, a television, and they also created really cool t-shirts and sweatshirts. And so with that sale of those proceeds, they need new tools, right? Because they only have a certain amount of budget and they need certain things for no telling what could arise, right? Whenever they come. So I'm planning on really getting aggressive and working on that project as well.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you. Wade, the program you're going to be launching very soon. Super exciting.
Yeah, it's called the Shining Star Hero Program. And so essentially it's very, very similar to Homes for Heroes, but without all the bureaucratic red tape and the cut that organization takes. So essentially, it's for active duty and veteran families. It's for first responders, healthcare workers, and educators. So essentially, our community heroes. And so for me and my team, we're going to be covering, I believe, the appraisal cost up to $675. That's what the new VA appraisal costs are up to. So we cover the appraisal for them. We are going to be looking to partner with realtors that want to participate in that. You can set your own amount of contribution. There's no rules that you have to provide a certain amount of rebate, or you don't even have to participate at all. I'm going to be participating, and I want to grow that to help more and more community members that are our local heroes. So speaking directly to the real producer community, whether you're a real estate agent or one of the other partners like myself, if you're interested in participating, please let us know. Please reach out. I'd be more than happy to sit down and get into some of the details with you. But that program is just a way to help more community heroes and give them a real benefit, as opposed to taking a big chunk of the rebate and then only providing the client with a nominal discount.
Wow. So incredible. what you both are already up to and what you're going to be up to in the new year. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure there are people listening in that want to connect with you in regards to lending, in regards to, their home or one of the programs you just mentioned or previous myth busting class. So once again, Wade, how do they get in touch with you if someone is listening in and is like, I need to speak to Wade, or I want to be a part, or I want to work with you? Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, feel free to friend me on Facebook, shoot me a private message, shoot me an email. Again, team@winningwithwade.com, team@winningwithwade.com. Feel free to go to my website as well, which is obviously winningwithwade.com.
Awesome. And Miranda, what about you? For those that are listening in and are like, I need to get in touch with Miranda to work with you, to help you with what you're starting in the new year, how do they contact you?
Yes, they can call me, text me, 214-707-1697. Again, 214-707-1697.
Awesome.
And then you can, or Facebook me as well.
Great. Well, thank you guys for being on the show. This was amazing. And I'm sure, like I mentioned earlier, we could talk a lot more about a lot more things than this hour can hold. But I'm so glad that we got to dive into some of those things that you're passionate about, what you're doing. And I'm sure those listening in have learned a lot. And for those listening in, I want to encourage you to tune in. Next Wednesday, we'll be on here, a different host, a part of the Real Producers team, but tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Thank you again to you guys. Thank you to Lendon. And speaking of Lendon, I want to invite you in. He is the owner and creator of The Difference. And he started the platform that we are streaming through. Lendon, why don't you share a little bit about this platform for those that are wanting to connect with you and perhaps start a podcast or live stream of their own?
Well, thank you, Rachelle, Wade, Miranda. Very good show today. I was in mortgages many, many years ago, Wade, and I just really appreciate what you both are doing for the VA community. And one of the reasons we started The Difference is I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. And most businesses don't struggle or fail because of a bad product or service. They struggle or fail because not enough of the right people knew who they were and what they were doing and their passion for doing it. And so we wanted to create a platform to give these people opportunities, to give the people in our communities that are making the difference, like you, Wade, that are starting that program, and helping the other people that are making the difference, the first responders, the veterans. And that's what our country was built upon. And there's just so many unsung heroes out there within our big cities and our small communities. And I just want to bring life to them and let people hear what they're doing and who they are, and just try to bring a little bit of positive energy back to a nation. I think that our big media kind of goes on the negative slant, not to get into that, but so I'll stop right there. But thank you, Rachelle.
Yeah. The more positive, the better. That's exactly right.
I agree. And but Wade, there's so much positive out there in our communities. The tighter you get, the grassroots level, there's amazing people doing amazing things, helping their neighbors. They're not paying attention to the negative noise that's going on and telling us what we need to think about our neighbor and why we need to be mad at everybody else. We are doing a phenomenal job in our communities of loving each other and serving each other, and no one gets enough credit for that.
Right.
Well said.
Right. Well, thank you, Lendon, for spotlighting those people. And certainly both of these people right there are two of those heroes. You guys are heroes as well to many. So thank you again. And I know I said it earlier, but I feel like it'd be wrong if I didn't say Merry Christmas closing closing this program. So Merry Christmas to those of you watching from us here at DFW Real Producers, Lendon with The Difference. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you just have a good time with family and friends, and especially those of you in the real estate community. Hope you get to take a break. Hope you get to put the phone down a little bit there. So,
Thank
all
y'all.
right.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you guys. Merry Christmas. Bye.